Hello folks! Welcome to the PolyChampions YouTube. This is a 2v2 replay review of a finals game. You'll see how to evaluate terrain to plan your economy, prepare to block knights, anticipate cloaks and limit the daggers they spawn, and maneuver your navy to control the water. Let's watch the replay. Hello, I'm eSpark, leader of the Arctic Wolves team, and with me today is Guardian.
Hi, my name's Guardian. I'm a Dragons pro player. This game is it's a playoff game. This is a finals game in the playoffs. My teammate here is Cobra. He's a really strong player, and it was great playing with him in this game.
Let's see the spawns.
I believe this in the north corner is Vorse. He's a pro on the Kraken currently. In the east, we have Gully. Most of the people watching probably know him. I'm in the west as Barter, and then my teammate Cobra has the worst spawn out of everybody. He's in the south. So starting off, we've got a very typical opening from Gully.
Yeah.
Takes the workshop. Cobra's got a village. It looks really good from the start.
Mm-hmm.
My spawn, it looks what I would describe as shattered. And when you play on a lakes 2v2 match, there's typically two different types of lakes. There's a middle lake and there's a middle bridge. It almost looks like a mix between continents and archipelago. So there's a lot of water and it feels like random places. But at this point, looking at this, I would have bet money that it was going to have a middle bridge, whether that's to both of my opponents in the center or just heading north. And there's no way to tell yet, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you had a feeling there's a bridge.
Vorse has a really good spawn
as far
as Quetzal's spawns go.
That spawn for Kretz is fantastic. Look at all the fruit.
Gully reveals a village there, which is good for him. I personally would have gone for Embassy Rush, which it doesn't look like they're doing based off of this movement. Cobra, he lands on his village, and he also uncovers a second village, which looking great, and it still looks like he has a larger land. I don't uncover a village, which is a little bit concerning. Seeing where the land is, I would guess that the land bridge extends towards the east corner, because the water isn't continuing towards the east, so that's what I'm thinking.
They go towards the middle of the map.
Yep, and this is interesting. They chose a ruin over a village.
And no, it makes sense because they have hunting. They'd have to get Org probably if they get that village. So yeah, it makes sense.
I would see no problem with Org here because it's consistent with an embassy tech line.
Right.
And embassies are the make or break in 2v2s. Cobra captures.
He gets hunting.
We were thinking that it'd be important to get an upgrade on that south city. And it's got a bit of a drawback in that we're further away from embassies if we do want to go embassies. But we decided it was worth the risk to get that upgrade.
Because you can use roads and animals to upgrade all of those cities, yeah. And you got riding?
Yep, I uncover a village and I get riding. And this village I was actually kind of upset at the placement about because it is right above Cobra's capital. And so we were debating for a while who should take it. We ended up going with me because it looked like Cobra had a large landmass. Little did we know. So yeah, then I grab a rider in my capital, and Vorse's spawn continues to look flawless. He uncovers a village. He's got good resources in his C2.
They get an explorer out of that ruin, which is one of the better things they could have gotten because they got to meet, and that would be helpful if they wanted to go embassies.
Now this is when we start to get a little bit worried because we see that there's water there and maybe Cobra doesn't have a large landmass, but we also see that fruit right there. And we're thinking to ourselves, all right, he's got another village. A little bit concerned, but it's all right.
Yeah.
I uncover a village with my rider, land on this village. It's got 2 animals, which is so nice. And I can afford to train another rider and still have stars to buy roads before capturing next turn, which is currently my plan. All right, so now on to Quetzal, right?
So Vorse moves on to the village, upgrades his capital. Or does he get an explorer? Oh, he gets an
He
explorer.
upgrades his. I think he was hoping to meet Gully at that point in time to send him a peace treaty, which still could have helped them on the road to an embassy,
Yep.
but not nearly as fast as what they could have done. And so,
And now Barter has a
um,
rider, it looks like. Gully has a rider.
yep, and they're probably looking at getting organization next turn. Cobra captures.
And you go for
One
an
sec.
explorer. Oh, that was
Yeah, and
not
this is
nice.
when we were weeping. We were so sad because we
Yeah.
thought that at this point in time the game was over.
That's so
That's what we were
disappointing.
thinking. We
You're
thought
like,
exactly
no. Look at
if
all that
we thought
water.
that maybe there's still a village east of this northern
Right. Maybe
warrior,
there's a
but
land
it looked like
bridge.
probably not.
Yeah.
hmm This is looking really bad for us, and on top of that, the water access is horrible.
Yeah, he doesn't have port.
So
I
we're
mean,
thinking
he has 2 port access, but they're all the way in the corner. Like, that's useless.
exactly, yeah. So it's looking really bad, and we're thinking we need to get that village, and if we don't, it's going to be nearly impossible for Cobra to have any kind of offense in this game because he needs to control the water, and if he can't control this village, then he cannot control the water.
Yeah, so you're
So
like
this is Cobra's goal
prioritizing.
right
You're like,
now.
I gotta get there. I gotta get there.
Got to send that embassy, and we got to secure this village by walking there because we can't get into the water.
No, you gotta walk
And
there.
and we were severely doubting whether or not we'd be able
Oh.
to get to that village. My turn
You
is a
got
little bit
roads.
better than Cobra's. Yeah, I get roads. I see that this city has pretty bad resources as far as barter goes because I want at least one animal to connect with the
Yeah.
roads. It's not looking that good. That rider doesn't uncover a village. So now we get to Vorce's screen. He sees my second city, which is kind of bad for me. Barter doesn't get organization. They get roads, I think it was.
Yep.
Cobra starts working towards the embassy by getting a workshop. It starts moving towards that village. I move south to direct an explorer here. That explorer
Is it helpful?
ends up
Oh,
working very well for us.
nice.
So I meet Quetzali, I capture, and I train a rider to get towards that center village.
Yeah, you got some good vision.
Quetzali just does normal upgrading stuff, keeps on just building their economy.
Barter's
So does
moving
Barter.
there.
They're not expanding very quickly.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they got an
They get an
explorer.
explorer.
Oh, are they gonna? Oh, they went the
And
back
that
way.
explorer,
Oh, they don't see
that
that
explorer could have
village,
changed.
but it went into the
Exactly,
east.
yeah, that
right?
explorer could have helped Barter secure that village, which is very unfortunate for them. But they do have a ruin, which is nice. And so Cobra just keeps on expanding, working towards the embassy, keeps on focusing his economy. This turn is really big. So first thing I do is I uncover a village back there, which is very important. I meet Cobra for 5 stars.
Excellent.
I rode to both villages, and then I end my turn. And yeah, so now I'm set up really well. I've got those villages secure. Vorce didn't really jump on the opportunity to aggressively push with expansion.
Now they have their embassies.
Yep, turn 7 embassy, which is really kind of slow. They should have 100% opened with embassies. So Cobra just grabs riding to hopefully secure that village faster. Nothing really of note on his turn. Now here I research fishing, and I get an explorer in my east city before capturing that city, the other village, which is very important because I got what I was hoping for. I met Barter, which enabled me to research forestry, and then I chop all of my custom house spots, and I calculate how much population I need for my late game. For my giants, so I plan out every single giant that I'll get from every single city, chop all the custom house spots, and I increase my economy by an insane amount all in one turn.
So you figured out the maximum amount of giants you could get from each city, and you're like, oh, well, if I can't get a giant there, then I'm just going to chop those trees that aren't going to be helpful.
Exactly, yeah.
And you have some really nice custom house spots.
Custom houses were in the back of my mind since the beginning of the game. Since with shattered spawns, with the water being sporadic, and it's very similar to a mix between continents and archipelago, you get really good custom house spots. That was our plan, just rush custom houses while Cobra rushes Embassy, and we'll just overpower them with an overwhelming economy. And so
Nice.
that was the plan at that point. And they just keep on upgrading. They capture a new city, just normal, just normal macro here.
Build their economy.
Mm-hmm.
Barter. Now they get
And
org.
Gully finally gets organization. Yes, this is important for them to start working towards an embassy because they need that in order to keep up with myself, as I've now become a bit of a superpower here. Cobra keeps on expanding, rushing towards that village, and here my economy continues to explode. I get a lot of upgrades, a lot of level threes, and I get my first giant.
Nice. So now you're going to have two
Mm,
monuments, right? The Park of Fortune and the Grand Bazaar?
yep. If it wasn't a team game, this would have been a bit of a misplay.
Oh,
Um,
what happened?
if it wasn't a team game, I should have border growth here to prepare for that custom house spot, which would have been southeast of this city right here, Rotov. But I chose not to because I know that Cobra is going to need the border growth, and I don't want to mess with his custom house spots and his water access.
Oh, okay. So you chose
Um,
not to border growth because you wanted Yadak to have the better custom house spots. Yeah.
exactly. And so Quetzali still isn't getting riding, just spamming defenders. Barter's still focusing economy. They're not really caring about that strip of land tiles, which is a bit of an issue for them. Cobra gets an embassy. I start advancing my giants and just continuing to steamroll my economy. Um,
But you haven't really started fighting yet. Nobody's actually battled.
right, yeah. A big part of team play is just focus your economy and expansion as much as you can and delay fighting as much as you can, um, as much as you're able to, anyways, so that you can have a stronger army later on. And so Gully Research is free spirit, so it looks like he's going to rush with knights,
Nights.
and he sieges my center city. Now, Gully had focused, um, if he had focused the center a little bit harder, and if I had gone math, as many people like to go for their barter opening, then Gully probably would have taken that center city. I clear with my very large numbers of units, and I rode my giant next to Quetzali, and I get my first port. So it's all looking good. You can tell here when I saw this that they made lumber huts on two of their forests. I knew that they probably had a way to
To giant push.
exactly, yeah. So they move their knights into position, and
Ah, sailing.
Cobra just yep. Cobra is finally in the water, and he's on that village,
Oh,
which
wait,
is
go
really
back.
nice.
There's some nice whales.
Oh yeah, Cobra has pretty good whales, which is a big help. We really needed the extra boost to get Cobra a solidified navy, which is really helpful. And he gets a border growth, setting up for those custom houses, which I would have messed up if I had taken that border growth in Rotov. I go forward with the siege,
But we're
and
expecting that he'll pop his own giant.
right, exactly. And I'm also aware that he has knights. I made a bit of a mistake here. This giant here,
Yeah.
I thought it would zone of control his knights from being able to reach
Uh huh.
my cities. So I don't know if I'm remembering correctly which turn.
Oh, does he sneak a knight past? Does the zone of control not block enough?
Yep, at some point. I forget if it was this turn or not.
Okay, we'll have to see. Because, yeah, if you know there's a
Mm-hmm.
knight coming, you gotta protect them and space your units out.
Mm-hmm. So he gets that giant push, not too surprised.
Let's see. Where's the knight?
And looking at this here, I did not plan for them to kill my giant. So that was 100% an
Oh.
error on my side.
He had a lot of
And
units.
that got them a few easy kills.
He could just throw all his... So your giant zone of control was correct, but once the giant was gone, then there's no more zone of control. Oh, no.
Right. And
oh, wow.
Looking at this, they probably think that they can capture one of these two cities.
Yeah.
But overall, they spent 2 nights and what is that, 5 riders, which is 31 stars of units on killing that giant and getting this knight back to chain my units. And knowing that this knight is going to die, the one that chains my units, that's an added 8 stars that he sacrificed in units. So at first glance, it looks like it was a good trade for him.
Okay, I'm going to add it up. He spent 38 stars on 2 sieges and killing how many of your units?
Let's see if I can find it in this replay. He kills 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Am I counting that right? So he spent 39 stars on 2 sieges and a bunch of kills that only costed me 24 stars. So it looked really good on paper.
But the trade, as far as unit cost, he lost more units than he destroyed.
Exactly, yeah. So Cobra with that embassy is starting to really ramp up his economy.
Oh, Explorer.
Vision. And we were very happy that in the end that Gully went with knights instead of sailing. That was a big bonus for us because that meant that Cobra isn't dead. And he would have been dead if Gully went for sailing. So
and you
now I cleared both sieges here. I cleared both sieges, and the only reason I was able to is because Cobra had ships in the water. And this is why,
let's look at that. This is the beauty of team play. When you get in trouble, your teammate can come rescue you. Exactly. So you unsieged 1 on your own.
Right. So, what Cobra here, I almost said Gully, what Cobra here does is he hits my knight one time with his ship. And this is why it's very important to act as one unit, like one force instead of 2 forces working together, because we planned out exactly how much help I needed in order to clear the sieges. So I clear that siege in the south with my 2 riders, and then I pop a giant with ports.
Nice.
So now this is looking really good. I've got some good I've got a lot of territory control in the center, separating Quetzali and Barter a little bit.
Now, Quetzali is starting to look a little bit scary. They've got giants. They've got catapults.
I was looking at this, and I assumed that they would have archery soon because the defense bonuses are just insanely powerful. Gully continues to ramp up. He
gets a giant.
With those sieges not helping anything, he's a little bit behind now. Yeah. So he's got to start training units again, start focusing on his economy.
But he attacks Yadak.
And Cobra's doing okay. He gets his first giant on turn 13, which is horrible.
Is he going to border growth at other cities so he can get the whales?
And so we'll get the whales next turn.
Okay.
And I believe we planned out a way to pop a giant in that city by Cobra, look, if need be.
There's the custom houses.
Yep, I finally bring them out after delaying it multiple turns. Like I said earlier, we planned out a way for me to get it by turn 11, but with that night chain, that wasn't really that possible. Now this sword on this mountain right here causes problems for so long in this game. So it continues to zone of control that line of shallow water there, and it prevents my units from being able to efficiently move from my capital up towards where I can attack the city. Now, while I control the water, there's a very large range of tiles where my boats can hit his catapults. So Quetzali continues to ramp up, and Barter keeps on expanding. They're trying to pressure that south village.
Did they siege?
They're not the south village. They did siege, yeah, but we cleared it. Cobra has trade. He's up to 24 stars per turn. I'm up to almost 50 at this point in the game,
Wow.
which is why it's so important to manage your economy efficiently. Like you noted that I didn't really attack them for a while,
Yeah.
even though I was more than able to. And this is the payoff to that. And Quetzali's on 30 stars per turn, so I've got a sizable advantage on them. Barter's at even less than that. So it's looking pretty good at this point in the game, as long as Cobra can control the water. This is our win condition at this point.
Yeah.
If Barter takes control of the water, then we're screwed because Quetzali can have safe catapults. And so the water is just the most important thing right here. You see right there why I wasn't too concerned about Quetzali catapults, because you see that boat can hit the catapults, and I've got so many bows and they're expendable, so it doesn't matter. I'm happy to just let them die as long as I get hits on their catapults. So they continue to advance their catapults even though I have a navy within range, and their plan is just have more targets than I can hit.
Well, Ketz just has this like
starts to work.
line of giants and defenders in the front, but you, like you said, you can get your boats around and hit some of those catapults.
Exactly. So Cobra's starting to get actually decently strong.
More boats in the water.
At turn 16, so.
Oh, but Barter has a boat.
Gully gets a giant ship in the water, which is really concerning for us because the water is our win condition, and if they get an early battleship, then they might be able to contest Cobra's naval supremacy. They're a little bit concerned, which is why we focused on popping some more giants this turn, so that we can get our own battleships. And I get navigation so I can get that ruin. The reason that I can't help out Cobra in the water is because they have catapults pinned on my ports, so I can't really put anything into the water safely to help out Cobra, which is really important, and that's why I target this catapult the most, because I want them to stay off these ports so that I can safely put things in the water. But unfortunately for us, Vorse and Gully, they have really strong micro. Even if they make a lot of macro mistakes, like with the embassies, and not expanding very quickly towards that village by Cobra, they have very strong micro.
Yeah.
So they don't really leave very many openings for me to get into that middle lake. So now that's pretty important. Vorse gets he gets some cloaks.
Oh, does
that
Gully
battleship
get
that we were worried about?
Yeah, he got the giant battleship.
And he gets another giant ship in the water. So it's looking like he very possibly could take the lake. Cobra continues to focus his economy, just building up units. Here we clear the siege barely, and I get my catapults in place so that I won't have to stress about another siege there. Vorse keeps on moving forward his cloaks, and then this is where we start to get to the messy endgame.
He has cloaks?
Where? Vorse has 2 cloaks, or a few cloaks, and they're quickly getting close to my cities. And so now I actually can tell that there's a cloak there just based on the weird positioning of his units. So in my mind, I think, okay, there's probably a cloak within range. And so I position my units so that as few daggers as possible will spawn behind my giant line, which is important so that I don't have to worry about daggers hitting my catapults.
So you anticipated, because there was a gap, you're like, oh, there's probably a cloak there. Because you know they have embassies. You know they have diplomacy.
Exactly.
And you have your own catapults, right, in position, but you try to space them to minimize the number of daggers.
Right. And another thing is that Quetzali could break peace with Barter and send in cloaks against me, and then Barter can use the daggers to chain into my backline.
Yes, but as long as those two have peace,
again, that's
Barter cannot use his knights to attack the Quetzali, but if they break their peace, then the Barter could attack the Quetzali units and get kills. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So that's what we're trying to be aware of. But when you have diplomacy in game, it'll show up on your screen that so-and-so broke peace with whoever. We had it in the back of our mind, but we weren't actively preparing for it yet. So Cobra gets his first giant battleship, and he just starts spamming units. At this point, Gully should have been spamming defenders into the water because he's had diplomacy in an embassy for a
Yeah.
little bit of time now. So I get philosophy at this point,
Huh.
and this is when I was really surprised that they didn't get sailing before they landed the cloak,
Right.
which is they probably didn't think about it until after the cloak hit, and they realized, oh yeah, I need sailing because again at the time embassies were new, so there's got to be a couple human errors
Because
somewhere.
spawn
Um,
daggers on the water would have made ships
mm-hmm,
if they had, or they're called pirates or something, if they had sailing. But
mm-hmm,
without sailing, there's less places for the daggers to spawn. Mm-hmm.
exactly, and if they had gotten some daggers in the water, it would have been easier for them to advance their catapults because I would need to take out the daggers before I can get to their catapults.
Mm-hmm.
So it buys some extra time. And Quetzali is just continuing to advance slowly, but Gully gets a big hit on our giant battleship, which is what we were hoping he would do because we also planned out this right here. Um,
So you
and so
wanted him to move his giant battleship there so you could move all the Yadak ships in range and then just, yeah, hit it.
exactly, yeah, that giant was bait. Um, just continue to push out giants. I was kind of upset that this catapult
Oh, it went in a
went into the
boat.
water. Yeah,
Ah.
because it should have gone east, but I forgot that I used it to attack, which changed its direction, which is again just another mistake on me. But that would have helped for a more efficient clear of this city right here. So thanks to philosophy, I was able to get knights and with like fairly easily take out all the daggers,
So your goal in
do some
getting
damage.
philosophy was to afford free spirit and chivalry?
Yeah, that was part of it. And just being able to afford things like spiritualism, I really wanted at this point to build a forest wall so that these knights can they won't be a problem anymore.
Oh, you know, this
I
is,
can
I've
say,
never seen this before. How often does someone get spiritualism because they want to plant forests because they want to have a terminal tile preventing the opponent's knights from moving through, right? That's what you did?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
it's
love it.
very
I
important
love
in
it.
high level. Yeah, it's very important in high level games. It's easily the most underrated tech because the forest wall would have saved me so many stars at this point, and I would be able to move forward with my catapults a little bit easier. So I have it in the back of my mind. I really want it, but yeah, that's why I got philosophy.
That's
And
great.
so
That's great.
so Katsali continues to move forward. They finally got sailing to get some daggers in the
You're
water, but
double
at this point, it's
sieged.
too late. hmm And so they keep on moving forward. They get another battleship in the water, but at this point, they already fell for the trap, and they didn't get enough. They'll never be able to get some safe units in the water.
Yeah, Yadak
So
controls that ocean or lake. Yes.
mhm,
You keep getting sieged. Oh, more knights. Hmm.
mhm. And I'm okay with these sieges because they're leaving his units vulnerable. And I was kind of proud of those chains right there. I remember
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave any. I didn't want to leave the knights on the land because then it would have left a window for barter to chain through it. And so I just had both chains and on the daggers that were on my ports. So my knights went into the water. So you can't chain through them to get to my catapults. So my catapults are safe. I'm whittling away Quetzali's units, and at this point, it looks like the game is won. I'm pretty confident. I'm not very scared. They're running out of things that they can do. I made a bit of a mistake there with that dagger, um, but it doesn't really have any consequence to it.
Both of you control your relative bodies of water
hmm
and have a
Which
lot
is
of custom
everything on
houses.
links.
They don't have custom houses yet.
Yeah, and in all fairness, our land was much more favorable for custom houses than theirs.
Yes.
It's a matter of, you can't really judge it by whose spawn was better for a certain strategy when saying who's favored, because here their spawns were built towards Embassy Rush. That was the strategy that their spawns were geared towards. And our spawns were geared towards late game defense. Like, we just gotta secure our land, build our economy, and just play defense, and then we win. And that was our plan. We did what our spawns were geared towards, and they didn't go with Embassy Rush, which would have made the game a lot more close. A lot more.
Yeah.
It would have been, I think that they would have been favored if they had gone for Embassy Rush. But who really knows? It's impossible to tell unless it actually happens. So I finally get Quetzali to start moving back, which is really nice. They also have knights now, which is a little bit annoying, but it's all right.
Hitting with the cloaks, getting more daggers.
Mm-hmm. But at this point, it's really just a matter of me not messing up, and we win.
Yeah.
In my mind, anyways. And I don't really think that there's anything they can do to stop us. They keep on trying to secure the lake, but we just keep on denying them, keep on killing the units that they put in the water. And you can tell that we're focusing units other than that giant battleship, even though that giant battleship is their strongest unit in the water. That's because, like I said, a lone giant battleship is useless. It needs support, otherwise there's no value. So now Cobra has a really good navy, a really strong navy. And yeah, so we just keep on securing our win conditions, keep on pushing forward. I think I grabbed Spiritualism up here soon.
Oh, look
I
at
get
this
chain. Really nice chain.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye catapults.
Yep. And so now with those catapults gone, I can move my giants forward. I grab Spiritualism, and I start popping the giants that I was planning during the early game with Spiritualism, which is really satisfying because I've been wanting Spiritualism the whole game. I get a Mindbender up here to kind of show them that I had philosophy. That was the main reason, in all honesty, because I wanted to be like, hey, I can get more techs. I just showed that I have Spiritualism, archery, and philosophy. So I was just trying to.
You're flexing. You're flexing. I get it.
Pretty much. Yeah. So one by one, we're just taking away all their assets and any advantages that they may have. Now Yadik's up to 54 stars per turn. They're almost up with me. But yeah, so it's just looking good. Keep on killing more catapults with our knights. That giant wall didn't really have any advantage to it. I just thought it was cool. And
no, you can see that what really paid off is you guys focusing on building your economy, getting those custom house spots. And they didn't get the embassies early that could have really boosted their economy. So you guys just got ahead as far as that economy wise.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm not sure if here it goes. Turn 25, they resign. And yeah, so this is pretty much a good game.
Excellent. Thanks so much for talking me through it.
Sure. Thanks for making this happen.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. For more Polytopia games with skilled players and expert commentary, click the links in the description. Join our Discord server. Get on a PolyChampions team. The link to the Discord is also in the description. Take care. See you on the next one.